Well, hey there, my friends. Welcome to another lesson today. Today, I am going to talk about when we are working on a piece and the composition isn't exactly where we envisioned it. So today is about composition and how to fix your composition. Tools, I don't know if you want to call it a tool, if you want to call it tricks, you want to call it techniques. You can use whatever word you want to apply to it, but it is a great pathway to working on a painting, trying to figure out a different composition without changing the painting and then not liking it. Yeah, been there and done that. So welcome to the lesson. If you're new to my channel, I am Linda Glover Gooch. Welcome into the studio. I'm an oil painter, painting a few other different mediums, and teacher, and I'm also the creator of the online school Masterful Painting. So here we go. Let's talk about this. So what I'm doing is I had this large piece here called The Fields of Clover that was created for a museum exhibit. And it was all going fine, and deadlines hit, so you have to, decide you're done, and that is what I did. But over the months of waiting for the time to lapse by prior to the show, I just was not happy with the tree. The tree was too small for the mass of the painting, so I wanted to work on it some more, and I just decided to do so. I still had time before the show opened, and there was still time to submit a change in photo. Now, I don't suggest this in doing this in a normal basis. This is probably one of the first times I've ever sent in a new photo and said, hey, the tree grew over the last few months. And it just is what it is. That is not something that I suggest you do, but it was where I was. So in order to change this, I wanted to not mess it up now, because now I am working on a deadline again. And what can I do? So the tree was too small. So what I did was I used these big acetate, and I'm going to show you what I did on the painting. But prior to going in there, why am I doing this? So I don't have to paint on the actual painting until I see the change and know, yes, that's what I want. So I picked up these big acetate. You can see the ring light in that now that I hold that up. These are 12 by 12. You can get these at your local art store wherever you live. This is a pack of them. These are 12 by 12, and they are called, I had it upside down. This is a pack of them. They are 12 by 12. They are called clear acetate sheets. And there's 12 of these, and this happens to be 12 by 12. So what I did, I'm going to explain to you in the video, but this is just the precursor to it to let you know where we're going with this, why I wanted to make a change, why I'm using this method. Sure, you could take a picture, you could go onto your computer, you could work in Photoshop, but that's not paint strokes. That's not paint mixtures. So what I did here was I was able to mix up my colors, what I wanted, apply the brush strokes, the design, everything, and step back and go, okay, is it better? Was that the problem? Was that what was making me feel unsettled? Which it was successful, and it was. So let's roll into this lesson and see what you think, and maybe you might want to consider using this method as well. All right, let's roll. Well, hey, my friends. So this lesson today, like I said earlier, we are looking at making corrections on a area of a painting. Is the painting done yet? Maybe you haven't worked on it for a while. Maybe you needed to think about it. Actually, when you have deadlines, sometimes, man, you just want to work a little bit more. And so I found myself in that situation with this large piece. So I am going to show you an amazing tool that is really cool. I used to do this in a different fashion. I used to shoot a photo and paint on the photo. but I have found this to be even more productive, fun, because it frees up any anxiety about messing up the painting. So this piece, let me pull you out so you can see it just a little bit better. So this piece, for the most part, I felt was finished. It was for Cowgirl Up, and I'm going to share this after the show opens. But I knew it needed something more, and this is called Fields of Clover. So there's tape on here right now if you're wondering what that is. I had some clover down here in the foreground and trees, but I just wasn't completely happy with those trees. So it's been in my closet and months have gone by, and I knew that I still had a little bit of time to make some changes. So I bought large sheets of acetate, and I've taped them on here with washi tape because washi tape is very weak. It doesn't tear my sketchbooks, so I didn't have any blue painter's tape. Plus, blue is a bit obnoxious, too bright, where this washi tape was just a cream color, so I felt like it might not be quite as intrusive on my eyesight with peripheral vision. So I repainted over the tops of the trees, and I'm going to be showing you a picture. This was it before. And you can see the tree is smaller and there's less clover. And I really was about the beautiful sky and the clover both. So at this point now, I have not finished this. This is just the plastic, and I've painted on the plastic, the acetate plastic that's taped up here. This painting's been in the closet for a couple months probably, and it's very dry. So there was no problem with laying this acetate against this or tape. If the painting was wet, obviously common sense says you can't do that, but it's completely dry. So now what I've done is I have painted in more clovers more boldly. I came brighter down here more boldly, right? Because, hey, it's on plastic, so I don't have to be worried about it. And then I grew my trees larger, and I added a little more green shrub down here. So I am going to now measure. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to measure behind there. And then I'm going to paint it on the painting. And then after it's painted on the painting, I'll put it back up and I'll video some more. And we'll go through these changes and talk about how this is really a great tool to help you. Now you can see what I was talking about. You can see the tape. This is even coming loose a little bit, but I'm keeping an eye on it because I didn't want to tear any of my paint of my cloud, obviously. I've enlarged this tree and this one and added more bushes. I've added more clover. I've added some more bushes here. Down here in the foreground, I had a little bit of light, but I brought it up. I had two trees that were, this one and this one were the same shape, and they were also the same height. I changed that. Add some more bushes, and I've gone more intense with the clover here. Oh, and I've added a few more spots of clover down here. So now the job for me is to get in there and now paint it on the real painting. But really, there's no fear in that, or there's nothing to be worried about because I've already done it once. So I'm pretty confident that I know where I'm going now. And this is what planning does. This is what practice does. This is what pushing it a little bit further. If you feel like, if you just have that little nagging thought that, oh, something just isn't quite right, something's not lining up, this is the answer here. So, all right, I'm going to paint it, and I'll be back and show you the finished and talk about it some more. So now at this point, you can see how I developed the trees. where I just had one small tree. Now I have developed this into a bigger grouping, which I'm much happier with. And then where I talked about these trees that were further in the distance, there were two of them that were identical. Those two on the left, they were the same height and size. So I did an adjustment there in size. I did add more clover out there in the field. I brought it up a little bit brighter, which I'm happier with. And then also right down here in the foreground, I just tweaked that out with some brighter spots to bring it up. So all in all, I think that this was a good change from this was the original. You can see that smaller tree. Yeah, it was just too small. And again, I was trying to make a deadline. So I jumped from that tree to the scene with this grouping, which gave it a lot more weight and balance for this large cloud that is hovering here over the sky. Okay, my friend, I hope you found that helpful. I found it helpful for me when I was trying to fix that painting. So I hope that you find this an interesting way to try out different things on a painting. One very important thing, I said it in the lesson, but I'm going to say it again. Your whole painting has to be dry. You can't be putting acetate paper up against a wet painting. That's, I think, goes without saying, but I'm wanting to make sure that I make that clear. It was stuck up there with tape. So your whole painting has to be dry. Anyway, I hope that you found this helpful. If you have not subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel, helps me to keep creating and putting things out there, and it gives me feedback. I'd love your comments if you think this is a great idea, or if you have your own way of approaching fixing compositions in a testing way. I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. And of course, I want to remind you that I do have some very awesome online courses. This is my shameless promotion of my school Masterful Painting online courses. There you will find a cloud course. I have a Grand Canyon course. I have some courses about rocks, and I have a really cool sketching course. So if you want to check it out, the link is here. I'll drop it down in the description. Remember, every other Tuesday, I send out my Teaching Tuesday emails that lead you to my blog and lessons just like this one, and a whole lot of other really informative teaching lessons at my blog on gouache and oils, supplies, tools, just different things. So, all right, thanks again for watching, and remember, stay at the easel, keep working at it, but enjoy the journey.